Okay, we're going to get started on page 10. I'm going to start by reading the text and studying the example. As an addition, so just like when you're adding, as an addition, when you subtract decimal numbers which do not have the same number of digits in their decimal parts, you must put extra zeros on the right as placeholders. Alright, so that's basically the unit rule. Make an equivalent decimal fraction. 7 and 83 hundredths minus 5 and 1/10. When I rewrite it, you already know to line up your decimal point. Notice the 5 and 1/10, they wrote in an additional 0. They made it a hundredths number. So you have a hundredths number minus a hundredths number. And then you subtract. 6 and 4/10 minus 5 and 37 hundredths. When you rewrite this problem, 6 and 4/10 is a tenths number. 5 and 37 hundredths is a hundredths number. And so they put in a 0. And they made this 40 hundredths minus 37 hundredths. 1 and 42 hundredths minus 1 and 367 thousandths. Going to write it to solve it. 1 and 42 hundredths minus 1 and 367 thousandths. So it's a subtraction problem, starting with 1 and 42 hundredths. 1 decimal point, loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point. 42 minus 1 decimal point, loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point. 367. 367 thousandths. I have a hundredths number and I need to subtract a thousandths number. So I'm going to put in my 0 and make this 420 thousandths. And now I can subtract. I will need to regroup here. And I will need to regroup here. Okay, cool. So I'm ready to get started. I don't need to regroup there, and I don't need to regroup there. So 4/10 is going to go down to 3/10. 10 plus 2 is 12, but I can't keep all 12. I can only keep 11 there. And so 10 plus 0 is 10. There we go. Now I can just subtract. 1 whole unit minus 1 whole unit is 0 whole units. Decimal point. Loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point. 3/10 minus 3/10 is 0/10. 11 hundredths minus 6 hundredths is 5 hundredths. 10 thousandths minus 7 thousandths is 3 thousandths. Or 53 thousandths. Next, I have 5 and 3/10. 5 and 3/10 minus 1 and 4 hundredths. 5 and 3/10 minus 5 and 3 hundredths. I'm sorry, 1 and 4 hundredths. 5 and 3/10 minus 1 decimal point 04. All right, my decimal points are lined up. I have a tenths number, but I need to subtract a hundredths number. And so I need to write in a 0. Now they are both hundredths numbers. 30 hundredths minus 4 hundredths. I'm going to use flexible place value. I'm just going to start at 30 and count backwards for 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. 26 hundredths. 5 whole units minus 1 whole unit is 4 whole units. 12 and 5/10 minus 8. 12 and 5/10 minus 8. So 12, decimal point, loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point, and 5/10 minus 8 whole units, decimal point, loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point. This is a tenths number minus a whole number, so I'm going to need to write in a 0. Now I have a tenths number minus a tenths number. 12 whole units minus 8 whole units is 4, but if you're not sure, you can just start at 12 and count until you get to 4. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Decimal point, loud and proud, happy to exist as a decimal point. 5 minus 0 is 5. And so you'll just keep following the same process. You'll rewrite it, line up your decimal points, put in your write in your equivalent decimal fractions, and then subtract.